Hi, I'm Vicky. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this yoga flow, which is a feel-good, full body stretch and release flow. We're going to begin today in a seated position on your yoga mat. Coming to sit nice and tall, lengthening from the tailbone all the way through to the crown of the head. Lightly roll the shoulders back. You can go ahead and close the eyes or just have a soft gaze. And let's start with a big cleansing breath in through the nose. Big release through the mouth. And pausing here now as we breathe in and out through just the nose. Seeing if you can make your inhales and your exhales the same length. And maybe as you do so, they slightly deepen, nourishing the body and all of the systems that the body is made up of. Having a calming, centering effect on the mind. And just allowing yourself to drop into this moment here. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and flutter open the eyes. Take a big breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, lightly draw your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Breathing into the side of the neck, just noticing what you notice. If there's any tightness there, see if you can use your exhales to work through that tightness. Breathe into it. From here, begin to roll the chin across the chest, feeling the stretch through the back of the neck, moving slowly to bring left ear over left shoulder. And you can pause at any point if there's any tightness. See if you can breathe into it before moving further along. Take your time. Moving from one side to the other. And then come back to neutral and bring your right arm across the chest and use your left arm to draw the arm in. You can add in some movement here if that feels good. Keeping the arms crossed, bring them out in front of you and find your way into eagle arms. So your left arm is under the right. Maybe you can wrap the palms, bring the palms to touch, or you can bring pinky to thumb, or even just forearm to forearm, whatever feels best for you. And you can be still here, or you can add in a gentle up and down motion. But wherever you are, keep lengthening through the spine, sitting up tall. Feeling a release through the shoulder blades. Gently release and bring your left arm across the chest this time, using your right arm to draw the arm in. And same thing again, bring the arms out in front, coming into eagle arms on the other side. So this time your right arm is under left. Option to add in some really gentle movement. And release. And make your way onto your shins as we come into an extended child's pose. So bring your knees so they're hip distance apart. And then walk the arms and the upper body down, stretching here. Breathing into the back, the shoulders, the underarms.
And keeping the head down, see if you can lift your elbows off the ground and spider the hands. So by that I mean bring the fingers nice and wide, so just the fingertips are on the mat. Just notice how that feels. Maybe the stretch feels more intense. Lower the hands back down. Gently lift the head and walk the arms over to your right. So your right arm and your right hand is going to come off the mat. And your left hand will maybe come to the right edge of the mat. And as you inhale, find space in the spine, lengthen here. And as you exhale, melt down. Breathing into the left side body. And you inhale, lift the head and slowly walk your hands over to the left this time. Inhale to lengthen and exhale to bow down. Lift the head and slowly walk the hands and the arms back to the center. Come through to a tabletop position, bringing your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. And we'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow. So inhaling to lower the belly, but lift the tailbone, lift the chin and the chest. And exhale to round the back, tucking the tailbone, drawing chin in towards the chest. Inhaling to arch. Gently look up and exhaling to round. Let's go one more in each direction. Come back to neutral. And from here, see if you can keep your hips over your knees. Bring a gentle engagement to the core. So by that I mean lift the navel up towards the spine. So kind of up and in lifting motion. And we'll come into extended puppy dog pose. So trying to keep the hips where they are, begin to walk the arms out long as you melt down with the heart and the forehead. Maybe the forehead comes down to the mat. So this is quite an intense chest opener. It feels really good if you've spent a lot of your day maybe with the shoulders rounded over the computer or driving. Make your way slowly back to tabletop position. And as you inhale, lift your right arm high, look up at the thumb. And as you exhale, thread the needle, bringing your right shoulder, your right temple down to the mat. And you can choose to stay here, or you can lift your left arm and bring the hand back behind you, maybe resting it on the right thigh or in the hip crease. Coming back to the breath once more. Even full breaths through the nose. Bring the left hand back down to the mat. Press into that hand to lift up. The right hand comes up towards the sky. Look up and exhale. Float the hand back down. Inhale, the left arm reaches up this time. Look up at the thumb and exhale, thread the needle. So same thing on this side. Option to lift the right arm. Bring the hand back behind you, resting it wherever feels good. Bring the right hand back down, press into that hand to lift you up. The left hand reaches up to the sky, look up, and exhale, float the hand back down. From here, tuck the toes, lift the knees and the hips for downward facing dog. And while we're here, let's shake out the head slowly from left to right, shaking the head no, and then nodding the head yes, just gentle, steady movements. Bringing the head into stillness now, gazing back towards the belly or maybe the tops of the thighs. And let's bump the hips from left to right. Just noticing the shift of your weight from one foot to the other. Come back to stillness, the hips are neutral, and pedal through the legs. So bend one knee deeply and then the other in a cycling motion. And then make your way into stillness here in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Really push the mat away. Lift those hips up towards the sky. And just pause here in this moment of calm. Any poses that are inversions, which means that your head is lower than your heart, so downward facing dog is an inversion. These poses are super calming for the mind and for relieving stress, lowering those cortisol levels. Begin to bend the knees and walk the feet towards the hands. When you get there, slide the hands under the feet. So we're coming into gorilla pose here. So you're standing on the palms of your hands. See if you can get your toes to touch your wrists, if that feels okay. Otherwise, just wherever feels good for you. And this may already feel a lot. Just be really mindful here. We don't want to hurt the wrists or cause any pain at all. And you can be still here, or if it feels okay, you can gently, very gently move back and forth. Be really careful, we don't want to hurt ourselves. Yoga is all about feeling good. Never push yourself into any moments of pain. Okay, gently release. Wrap the hands around the back of the calves and just melt down. Bend the knees a whole lot so your belly is resting on the thighs. Let the head be heavy. Breathing into the whole back body, the hamstrings, the low back. Let your head and shoulders be heavy. And then release the hands and slowly wind all the way up. So when you get there, standing at the top of your mat with the feet hip distance apart, bring a light engagement to the belly, so drawing the navel up and in just lightly. Let the hands and the arms be really heavy and begin to roll the shoulders. Big movements here. And then change direction. Come back to stillness. And on your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead, look up at the thumbs. And as you exhale, hinge at the hips for forward fold, Uttanasana, belly to thighs. Inhale for a halfway lift, and exhale, plant the hands and step back to a plank pose. Engage the core, push the mat away. Remember, you can do plank on your knees at any time. And slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Bring the tops of the feet down to the mat. And bring your elbows under the shoulders, coming into Sphinx pose here. So really trying to lengthen through the spine. No compression in the low back, but really trying to bring the chest through the space of your upper arms. Breathe here. Now lower down, bring your right hand under your right shoulder. And extend your left arm out to the left. Place your left temple down on the mat. And bend the right knee. And you're going to begin to now push in to your right hand so that you can roll over onto your left side. And you can choose to just lie here and stack the feet on top of one another. Or if it feels good, you can go a little further back and bring the right foot back behind you. So really opening up that left shoulder. Breathe into it. And then slowly make your way back onto your belly. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. This time left hand under left shoulder. Right arm extends and bring your right temple down to the mat. Bend the left knee. Push into the left hand. Slowly roll onto your right side. And it's perfectly normal for one side to feel tighter than the other. Again, option to bring that left foot back behind you if that feels good. And then slowly make your way back to your belly. And come back to a tabletop position. Tuck the toes. Lift the knees and the hips for downward facing dog. Maybe walking the feet up the mat just a couple of inches. Big breath in through the nose. Big sigh through the mouth. On your next inhale, lift the right leg high and spread the toes. And then bend the knee and allow the hip to open up so your knee points up to the sky. Try and keep your shoulders in line as you do this, as much as you can. And then extend the leg once more, bringing the hips back in line. And as you exhale, step the right foot through to the front of your mat. Find your balance and rise up to a high lunge. So your hips are both facing forwards, your weight is in your front heel, and then stepping back into your left heel. Inner thighs hug in towards the midline. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead, and as you exhale, cat kiss the arms, so you're bending the elbows 90 degrees. An option here to lift the heart and gently look up for a mini back bend. Breathe here. And on your next exhale, float the hands down to the mat. Step back, three-legged dog, right leg is lifted high. And exhale, step the foot back down, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg high, spread the toes. And bend the knee, allow the hip to open. Breathe into that hip flexor. Bring the hips back in line, three-legged dog. And exhale, step to the front of the mat. Finding high lunge on the other side, rise up. Same thing here, hug those inner thighs in towards the midline, and as you inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, cat kiss the arms, option to lift the heart. So imagining that you're being lifted from the rib cage up towards the sky, no compression in the spine. As you exhale, lower the hands down, step back, three-legged dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Big breath in through the nose. Big breath out through the mouth. From here, lower the knees and send the legs to one side. And we'll come into staff pose. So bring the legs out in front of you. Feet are hip distance apart, flex the feet. And if your hands reach the ground, press into the ground as you lengthen the spine. And see if you can bring your chin so it's parallel with the mat. So it doesn't look a lot, this pose, but actually to really sit in this position, correcting your posture can be quite challenging. Shoulders are away from the ears. And then bend the knees, bring the feet in close to the pelvis and wrap the arms around the outside of the knees. Tuck the hands under the feet once more, like we did in gorilla pose. So you're stretching the soles of the feet here, and then allow your chin to tuck in towards the chest. Release and make your way onto your shins. And we'll come into rabbit pose. So to do that, bring the knees so they are hip distance apart. And lower the head down as if you were going into a child's pose, but bring the head closer to the knees if you can. And then cup the heels with the hands. And when you get there, press into the legs, into the shins to lift the hips. So the weight is not in your head. You're pushing down into your mat with your shins. The hips lift up. Breathe here in rabbit pose. slowly lower down. Bring your hands down by your feet, bring your forehead to the mat, and just allow yourself to pause here in Balasana, child's pose, just for a breath or two. Bring your hands onto your shoulders and slowly and mindfully rise up. Take your time. Sending the feet to one side, come into a seated position on your mat. And bring your right arm up. The hand reaches up towards the sky and then hinge at the elbow. Bringing your left arm out and then bring the thumb to face down and reach back behind you, seeing if you can take hold of the fingers. So maybe they reach, maybe they don't. If they don't, just take hold of your clothing, or you can use a strap. And just keep that intention of reaching fingers towards one another. Sitting nice and tall here, even using the head for a tiny bit of resistance. Release, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So the other hand reaches up this time. Bend the elbow, send your right arm out to the right, and then thumb points down to the ground and reaches back behind you. Also, it's quite common here for it to be different on one side. Maybe you can reach with one arm but not the other, and that's perfectly normal. Release, and then keeping your left leg in this position, extend your right leg out to the right, bringing the sole of the left foot to the inner thigh. Sit tall and place your right hand down on the leg and then fold out to the side, taking hold wherever feels good for you. So maybe the hand comes to the inner leg by the foot, maybe you can take hold of the big toe, or even just resting on the shin. And then from here, open up through the left side. So you're getting a side body stretch here, and try and resist the urge to take hold of the foot and close the ribs here. What you want to do is open the ribs up to the sky, rotate them upwards, and look out under your left arm if that feels good. Breathe here. Rise up, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left leg extends this time. Sole of the right foot comes to the inner thigh. Reach out, take hold wherever feels good for you, and as you breathe in, reach up and over the body with the right arm. I'm not mirroring you this time, so I'll be going the opposite way to you. And again, same thing here, lift the ribs up towards the sky, look out under the arm. And on your next inhale, rise up and bring the soles of the feet to touch, allowing the knees to come out to the side. Bring the feet in towards the pelvis. Sit tall and wrap your hands around the feet so your thumbs will rest on the soles and your hands will wrap around the outside. Big breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, lower your chest down towards the floor. And if your knees are up high, you can use your elbows to open up the legs. Be mindful, again, we don't want to feel any pain at all. And maybe opening up the feet as if they're a book. Opening them up, bringing the soles wider apart, but still touching on the knife edge of the foot. Breathe here. Rise up. Use your hands to gently guide the knees up, and then take the feet wide apart. Bring the hands back behind you, and you're just going to window wiper the knees. A nice slow motion, just releasing through the hips. And from here, coming to lie down on your back. Keeping the knees bent, walk the feet closer towards the hips, and pick your right foot up and place it on the left thigh. Flex the foot,
And then lift the left foot up, bringing the shin parallel with the mat, and interlace the hands around the back of the left leg. Gentle tuck of the chin so your neck is long here. And you can choose to stay here if this already feels enough, or for a little added extra, gently guide the legs in towards your chest, but keep that right knee moving out away from you. Breathe here, releasing through the back of the hips. The toes are spread, the feet are flexed. And now bring the left shin so it's back parallel with the mat if you were hugging the knees in closer. Let go with your hands and then gently allow your legs, keeping them in this position, to come over to your left. So the right foot is going to stand down on the floor. So you're coming into a twist with your legs in this figure 4 position. And you can use your hand to gently guide that knee up away from you. If this doesn't feel good, just bring the knees together and come into a normal side body twist. Gently release, come back to the center. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. This time, left ankle rests on the right thigh. Flex the foot. Pick the right foot up and bring the shin parallel with the mat. Interlace your fingers around the right thigh. And again, option to draw the legs in closer towards the chest, but keep that left knee moving out away from you. Release your hands, bring the right shin back so that it's parallel with the mat, and then send the feet in this position, keeping the legs like this, sending them over to your right. So your left foot is going to stand on the ground and push the knee gently, very mindfully, again, no pain here. If this doesn't feel good, come into a regular twist with the knees together. Come back to the center, hug the knees in, wrap your arms around the legs. And then bring your hands to the knees and just draw some circles with the knees, feeling a release through the low back. Nice big circles. When you get to the top of the next circle, change direction. Gently release, extend your legs out long, bringing the feet out wide, and allow the toes to just splay out to the sides. Hands can rest on the belly or out to the sides with the palms facing up. Go ahead and close the eyes and just allow yourself to really melt into the mat, feeling a sense of heaviness wash over you. And just allow yourself this time to soak up all the good work that your body has done. Seeing if you can keep the mind quiet, and if thoughts come, that's perfectly normal, but just see if you can acknowledge that they've passed on by and then let them go. We'll be here for a few minutes and I'll let you know when Shavasana is complete.
Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes, bringing some gentle movement back to the body. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And slowly make your way to one side. You can keep the eyes closed for now. Come to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Bring your hands to your heart. Just take a second here to scan through the body, starting from the crown of the head, working through to the soles of your feet. Just checking in with how you feel compared to at the beginning of your practice. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.